Hey traders, just want to do a quick live review of UNH today. It's a little bit of a messy ticket today. So as I work on pyramiding and building size in some of these bigger opportunities, I just want to kind of give some live uh, thoughts on this trade. So the start of the trade, we have a nice day one yesterday. So on the daily, we have, this kind of front side turn, closes on the lows. What stood out to me, just giving some context before the trade, um, yesterday we kind of dribbled out into the close, so we didn't do a whole lot. The stock has been seeing a lot of pops on dips, and over really the last several sessions. So anytime this is getting a big dip, it ends up ripping back higher, and that's happened about 3 or 4 times. And then yesterday on earnings, same thing tried to happen here, and we kind of just consolidated. But then what set up today's trade was into the close. We did start to accelerate. So this is creating control for sellers and some momentum going into today. So today we kind of float a little bit higher in our setup. And the variables we look at going into the open favored a downside move. So I was very quick to trade this to the downside off the open, but it became very messy and didn't really act like, a winner that you would want to see. I got short right, so I traded the shares and options. This ticket is shares. As I kind of work on, pyramiding and building out bigger positions. It's something that I'm doing in this the bigger account. So just talking through this, the first phase of this trade played out as expected. So I got a starter short right into the open because I anticipated this starting to crack this 264. So this 264, 265 is very defined. So what I was looking for here is super simple. I wanted to get short with the intention of seeing a first move down. And if we started to push higher at all, I just get out very quickly because then it just becomes a little bit of a different setup. So I got short right on the open. I like the way that this bounce quickly got sold lower. So I actually added to this short here. Got a lot more size on this. So I was kind of in where I wanted to be with the position. I took a little partial here and then managed to take some more off on this spike lower. And that was just given the fact that we're breaking this 260 spot. So 260 was that previous day low. And then took some trims on the way down as well here. Now, this is where we started to get really the first bounce. Actually, I need to back up 1 second. I did add more shorts here. So basically, I got the start of the position here, took a small couple of trims here, but then on this first bounce, we had a potential failed breakdown at 260. Once we push up into this area here, which is around the VWAP, a little easier to see on the 5 minute. I went ahead and reshorted that on that turn, basically bringing my break even up to this pivot. So essentially, what I had built to that point, I had developed a positive ticket, and then this ad here brought my break even just above this prior high. So the reason for that was simple. I was thinking, if the failed breakdown plays out, then I'm going to just get stopped out real quick and move on. I don't really want to be short, right? I'll just reassess. But if it doesn't, right, if that failed breakdown fails, then I have, a lot of momentum on in my favor to the downside. And then you saw that kind of wash through the lows. This is where at this point in the trade I was very confident. I was feeling like this could be, a really big move direct to ATR around 252. We have 248 as a very key level on the daily. That was the low from the capitulation bottom that was put in, I think a couple months now ago, and that didn't really happen. So we end up starting to push higher, and on this push higher, we came back into some of the averages as well as VWAP, and I tried to get back a short here. I gave myself more room up to this 263.50 area, and this is where it got kind of messy. So at this point, in review, I feel that at this stage, just in the trade, getting stopped out on this candle would have been better execution. So just getting quick to get out here would have been an area for improvement because at this point you do have an active failed breakdown. So this is a kind of the test, a 260 retest of the failed breakdown that tried the first time and failed. This is the second attempt at the failed breakdown, and it kind of passed that test. So getting quickly out here and maintaining a more positive ticket for the day, I think in review would have been better. I got kind of trailed out here, and then on this, I felt like I got kind of trapped. So I tried to get reshort with very low risk to see if it ended up just being a little bit of a spray higher that reverted back down to this spot. That failed, so I was just quick to get out. Didn't really, create too much risk in that scenario. And at this point in the day, I'm relatively flat. So that's okay in my mind, just because, the best trades, they work right away, and they don't really play games, so to speak. If you look at, like a UPS today is a good example. Let me pull UPS up real quick. This opening drive was fantastic. So we have a very key level, and I only pivoted with UNH because I think big picture it could see a little bit more capitulation. Just and it still might, as I'm about to get to. It's looking pretty good. But this, here at the low from yesterday. This is a textbook day two. So if you just pull up the daily, your day one close on the lows. This is also a very key spot on the daily. And then today it sells immediately through the level, and then every pop is respected by sellers. So sellers just maintain control the whole time. This is an example of a trade that is just acting how it should. The reason that's important is because it's more about how much you make when you're right, not about being right or wrong, but how much you make when you're right and how much you lose when you're wrong. And so, applying that to a trade like this, if the way you make more money is by adding size or increasing exponential size in the trade, and there's multiple ways to approach that. But one way that I'm doing right now is through that pyramid strategy, where you get your initial size and then you look to add, bringing your break even down. And your risk in doing so is creating a break even ticket. But the benefit, even if it is at the expense of a low win rate, is exponential gains, because you're building more and more and more size into a strong winner. And so the ones that just play out as expected, those are the ones that you want to mentally be focused on. So when something isn't playing out that way, it's super important just to create a low risk scenario. Or break even is totally fine, because even if it ends up working out like UNH looks like it's about to, it's these ones that will really move the needle in the account. So UPS, great example of that. Charter also this week, good example of that. So getting back to UNH here, this, I ended up getting a little bit of exposure back. I tried one more time, and the only reason for that was these highs that we got back to. I noticed, so I like to look at the EMA clouds just to visualize the trend on the 5 minute, and we happen to be retesting the 3450, which is typically pretty strong for day one, day two trades. So I was thinking, with a mostly break even ticket, I'll give it one more shot. And, I was very hesitant in some ways because I didn't want to create an overtrading scenario. But given the context of UNH, I thought it was worth a smaller stab just to try it and see what I could do. And this ended up actually playing out, and it's currently still playing out. So I have an active position on this as we speak, with a bit smaller compared to before. Before I was ready to go with size. So just a little unfortunate, but anyway, I tried it here once we rejected these highs with very tight stops. I wasn't willing to risk anything over the high of day. This is kind of that last ditch effort for sellers, and they ended up winning. Now, the thing I wanted to review on this that I thought was, a positive takeaway from the execution today, I was able to kind of take some trims along the way, but there was a moment in here where, the main target for me was around, getting back to kind of the mean, getting back to this 261 where VWAP is, some of the averages kind of settle out. And also you have key levels between 260, 262. So I was just looking for kind of a reversion back to that. And then if runners wanted to kind of keep going, then I'd let it. It'd create a more positive ticket for the day, and all is good. But what happened here, as this started to work in my favor, my conviction started to change from being, okay, I just need to manage break even or small L or small win, to, okay, this is actually possibly an opportunity to get back in some size in the trade. That moment was here. So these double arrows, I got started here, took some partials, these partials created a little bit more green of a ticket. And so at this moment right here on these partials I covered, my break even was around 260, 430. So up in here, around the highs, break even on the open position. So if that would have hit, I would have essentially just been break even on the day, just to give you an idea of the size. Um, However, given the fact that this was kind of failing to hold, it was starting to get slippery. The price was not able to maintain these dips and just kept stair stepping lower. And so I was just saying to myself simply, okay, we rejected near the highs. Buyers are not gaining much traction. They've not put in a higher low to try and turn this up through those highs, which would be kind of the textbook failed breakdown follow through move. And so what I did was the whole point of this review is to show, spots and review spots where I could get more size. On this candle, once we failed right here to push higher, I essentially said to myself, okay, I'm going to get as much size as I can that brings my break even to this pivot high here. So about 263.30 was where I was looking to get my break even. So rather than you know, risking up near the high, which, is logical. I was saying to myself, if we start to bounce here, we're probably going to take out that high, and it's just better just to be out of the way anyway. So the alternative is if we don't do that, then what happens? Well, sellers gain back control. We minimally get back here. And then if that breaks, then it's like, okay, we're right back to 260 again. And then there's just the pressure is on for buyers. So that moment I identified like super quick in real time and just, added as much size as I could here with bringing my break even to here. And then that started to play out. So I've taken a couple partials. I'm still holding about half of that, and now my break even is still all the way up here, and we're sitting much better now. So anyways, I just wanted to kind of review that in real time, just as much for myself as for you all. It's a good exercise. The main takeaways are, trying to identify moments where you can increase your position, and then also mentally accepting the trades that don't work as planned, accepting break even or small L's. This is a ticket that I was getting, a little concerned that I could start to tilt into the over trading category. And I was, very quick to keep my mental in check on this because I just reminded myself it's just not worth it, right? Like as long as I'm around break even, that's okay to take some shots, but I can't create a negative ticket because it's more important to catch these, right? Like the easy trades, the UPS that just work really, really simple. Charter as well. The last couple of days, right? We pulled a 15-minute. Like this is easy, right? So getting max size and something that is just working as it should, so to speak, is really the biggest takeaway. So anyway, if you have any questions about the execution or my thoughts on UNH, let me know. I'd be happy to discuss it with you, but appreciate you tuning in. See you guys.